Coming to you live from my apartment, it's Rob Has a Podcast. And now here's a guy who's so excited that there'll be at least 7 more days of Christmas and 0 more days of Jillian. And I'm Rob Cesternino. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to our Thursday night recap. And this is going to be a fun episode because we had a week 1 blindside, a split vote. So many different things to talk about. We've got an HOH competition that's going on live that I'm hoping somebody could explain to me what they're trying to do because I can't even follow what the rules are. So we are ready to go, and we've got a great show here for you guys tonight live because we are joined by a man who 5 years ago went into the Big Brother house. He drew up a plan, and against all odds, he came out victorious. Here is our great friend who used to join us every week on Eviction Thursdays, Ian Terry. Ian, how are you?
Thank you for having me on the show, Rob. Really appreciate the invite, and definitely up to talk some BB.
Yeah, I'm so excited, Ian, and it's been a minute since we talked to you, not probably since last summer, so I'm very excited to see that. Ian, I was on the Big Brother Reddit the other day, and there was a screenshot that I had never seen before of the roadmap that you drew before you went into the Big Brother house, and it was amazing. I was amazed.
I will tell you the story behind that is the whole thing was actually just an elaborate ploy to get and you might have seen in the comments, a reference to a video on YouTube that just makes homoerotic dick jokes.
Wait. Oh, we lost the thread.
That's really what it was. If you go and find it, there was this video. It's because it says Team Outrageous Fun or something. I was never actually intending to follow that. I just wanted to see if I could get it aired.
Okay. All right. So then, here's a man who I know has to be pumped up tonight because we are getting good TV. Here is Brent Wolgamott. Brent, how are you?
See, I had a whole bit planned, but now I can't pass up this opportunity because I just want to make a note that homoerotica was brought up, and I was not involved, Rob.
Yeah, it wasn't you. It wasn't you this time, okay? So we've got a lot to get to here tonight. And, of course, this was our Big Brother 17 combination on Thursday nights where Ian and Brent, so I'm really doubly excited for this throwback edition of the podcast. Of course, hashtag RHAP will take your questions about everything going on here tonight. Of course, we have a competition ongoing. I believe that the live feeds have not kicked in yet, according to our latest reports. But if you want to, in one window, have the live feeds open and be following us along, we will later on in the show give you an update on what's going on. And if you want to follow them for as long as you want, even after we end the show, you can get in and get the live feeds on our website, robhasawebsite.com/live feeds, or you can click on the banner right in the center of robhasawebsite.com on your browser or on mobile, robhasawebsite.com. All right. Of course, we'll also have a live feed update coming to you guys on Friday morning. I will be back with Karen and Alex on the Rob Has a Podcast Facebook page if this competition, well, we'll be there either way, but especially if this competition doesn't end during the time that we are live, we will be talking about all of it tomorrow. Okay, so let's get into everything. And Ian, what an exciting week 1. Of course, Big Brother 14 had a very exciting week 1. And this season, do you see any parallels?
Well, I mean, I would say with the volatility and the HOH not getting what they want, I would say that it's definitely pretty similar. Yeah, I would say for sure. I think it was a great TV this week. Obviously, a little bit on the side where it's kind of, pendant of protection, really causes a lot of this. But, it was entertaining nonetheless.
Yeah, it's been a very fun week. And Brent, I know that you have to be pumped up. And with all, we're teasing about Jillian going out. She seemed perfectly nice and inoffensive. There was nothing wrong with her, except that she might have been the most boring person Big Brother has ever found.
Certainly. I mean, I honestly couldn't believe that exit interview. Julie seemed like totally unprepared for Jillian's level of uninterest in it. I mean, maybe she was just shocked by the whole thing, but she really shouldn't have been because she knew that there was a definite possibility that she could go home. I mean, it's not like she had lifelong bonds with the 6 people who she thought were in her alliance.
First off, was it a Jingle Bell shock?
Jingle Bell Shock for Christmas.
As long as it's not a Christmas break. We don't want one of those.
But second, okay, I'm glad you brought up Julie's interview with Jillian because it really was one of the most bizarre interviews. First off, you had this big fight, which we will talk about in a moment, and they cut from the amazing fight to go to Jillian, and you didn't hear her say one thing in the house, and then Julie asked her about what happened, and then we get this.
Before we say goodbye, any final thoughts?
No.
No.
No, I'm just shocked.
It's Big Brother.
That's Big Brother.
That is it.
Jillian, please, is there anything that you want to speak at all? This is your one shot. Everyone waiting for you to say something. Anything, Jillian? Do you have anything to say?
Rob, she wasn't even given a diary room tonight, and she was the person evicted. Can you believe that?
Please, can you tell us anything?
No.
No.
It might. I mean, I remember watching it. They asked her one question, and that was pretty much it. But fine by me. She added basically nothing, so I was pumped.
Ian, and I swear to God, if they have a battle back this season, they can at all costs, Big Brother. This is the one time we're begging production, please, somebody have Jason give her a ride on his back to the battle back and knock her out of the competition, please.
I would I mean, whenever I was thinking about it, if we have a battle back scenario, I mean, if Christmas went, I mean, Cameron should be able to beat her. And I mean, I don't think Jillian would be too much of an issue either. So I actually kind of like his chances right now.
Yeah, it's looking okay for your boy Cameron if he ends up coming back. All right, but let's talk about the big fight, which ended up becoming the top story tonight, even more so than this Blindside. And I pulled the clip from that. Here is something that we did not see coming. Here is Jessica and Christmas immediately following the eviction. I want to play this and then talk about it.
I don't have to say anything to you.
Yeah, you did.
No, actually, I didn't.
You're kind of a coward because you said something to me when I wasn't allowed to have a voice.
Actually, you lied.
Actually, I didn't. You literally looked me in the eye and said, if you stay in this house, you're coming for me and Cody. Why would I give you my vote?
I didn't say that.
Why would I vote for you to stay here?
Do you want to talk to me or do you want to listen?
Do I want to talk to you? You had days to speak to me
and
get out of my face. Not to. You did it on.
Then there's some F-bombs and they drop out. Okay, Brent, can you just talk us through why is Jessica so hot with Christmas? It's not Christmas saying like, hey, screw you. You voted for me. That Jessica, who tried to vote out Christmas, seems angry with Christmas for staying.
Well, I think that she is mad about the timing of it all because all this week they've been playing nice. Christmas is well aware of the fact that Jessica is not voting to keep her. Jessica's aware of the fact that Christmas knows this, okay? But they've been playing nice with each other. Everything has been blamed on Cody. And it's true. In that fight, Jessica is pleading ignorance like, actually, I wasn't involved in this. She's right. She was not involved in it. But to be fair, she did have a sniff of it because prior to the veto meeting, Cody did say, the two people who basically I don't trust are Christmas and Paul. She figured that out, and she knew it was going to be Paul. Of course, she could never have predicted the pendant of protection with Christmas. So basically, they've been playing nice all week, and I think Jessica was pissed off about the fact that Christmas waited until the one moment where Jessica was muzzled because you can't say anything when somebody else is giving their nomination speech unless your name is Netta and you want to roll your eyes. And she decided to just lay into her and basically make Cody and Jessica look like liars on live television when Jessica couldn't defend herself.
Yeah. Ian, what's your take on this big brouhaha?
I mean, I was pretty entertained. I mean, I had no idea what was going on. Anything that takes away from Jillian's time is fine with me.
Yeah, we don't get that a lot really during a Big Brother eviction. I mean, for the most part, I'd say, 95% of them is a civil affair where maybe, at worst, you have the person who gets voted out of the house is maybe in a blindside. They may just like, no, I don't want to hug anybody. I don't want to give anybody a hug. But this was maybe we get like one of these a summer where we have somebody going, stepping to somebody And I think this is a very good sign for this season to have this play out here in week 1, Ian.
Yeah, I'm really all about this. I mean, just the arguing, it kind of reminds me of like the Big Brother 12 Andrew Gordon boot, where you had the bickering back and forth all over the place. Really fantastic stuff. Very nice viewing for everyone.
Now, Ian, this is a unique season here with one vet in Paul and then a bunch of new players. But I think that where a Big Brother season ends up sort of going off the rails is when you have a great disparity between one player or like the vets and the newbies.
Yeah.
And Paul has come back and he's playing hard, but I think that we've definitely seen some flaws in Paul's game. I don't think that there is a great player in the house, and I think it's going to make for a very fun season because I don't think anybody's going to run away with this.
Yeah, I would actually agree with you there. I think it's pretty much even, Steven. I like that the vet that they did bring back is someone who's really entertaining, and he's certainly, I think he's good at the game, but he's not like, so great at it that, he's going to overpower all the newbies, and it at least keeps it a fair fight.
Yeah. Brent, do you think that even if Paul ends up winning the HOH this week, that you feel like that this game is going to slow down under any circumstances?
No, not anytime soon. Everything is just so jumbled up right now. There are just so many ways that the alliances could break depending on who wins head of household. Everybody has their own agenda. Not even two showmances can agree on exactly who they want to put up. So I have no idea what will happen, and I love it. It's been actually one of my favorite openings to a Big Brother season ever.
Ian, I want to get your take on Christmas's speech during the episode. And again, true to form, here comes Christmas, fiery speech. I'm coming after Cody, come with me. I'm going to protect people that were loyal to me. And then Jillian just ho-hum. Nice to know you all. This was very fun to be here. And I really liked what Christmas had to say. And I know the speeches don't matter for anything, but I think that when you are like a week 1 nominee, I think that's great when you could sort of like, hey, keep me in the house. I'm coming after the person who did this to me. And I think that it really bodes well for her moving forward.
Well, I definitely agree with you on that the speeches mean pretty much nothing. In fact, I think one of the things that I was pretty embarrassed about in 14 was that I literally listened to nothing in the speeches. I mean, I don't think I paid attention to a single one. I was very happy I was sitting out of an HOH that involved recalling what was said in those.
Right.
But that being said, yeah, I mean, they don't mean a whole lot, but you could see like the difference, right? Whereas like Jillian's was kind of like the ho-hum, I don't think this really means anything. Whereas Christmas was actually, ready to fight.
Yeah, this is what Alex was talking about on Facebook earlier today, where you have Christmas, who literally wants to take her crutches and beat people over the head, and then you have Jillian, who's a potted plant. That's exactly how it looks to us on the outside.
But it's counterintuitive because typically under any other circumstances that if you had 2 people sitting on the block and one person is showing all this fire and the other person is like, yeah, I'm just happy to be here, you always want to keep the person in the house who's just happy to be there and get rid of the person who is showing some intensity. But Ian, I said this last night, and I want to get your take on it. I think this was such a good thing for Christmas that she got hurt. I know that it's also counterintuitive, but it's I think she's got a real shot here because of breaking her foot.
100%. I mean, this is John Party all over again. I mean, I think that the biggest reason to get rid of her is that she's just a physical threat, and that is now all off the table. And you could take her for a while. And I was sitting there thinking about it. I mean, I don't know, how long does it take a broken foot to heal? Usually like 6 weeks, right? 8 weeks. I mean, the game, if she's there, it's going to be healed before this thing ends, which I think is absolutely insane. So this is a good thing for her, for sure.
Brent, in a parallel universe, Christmas does not break her foot this week. Do you think she's evicted tonight?
No, actually, I don't. I really don't think this had anything to do with it. I think even more so than anything that they would have probably wanted to keep her in the house because they want to use her as a weapon and point her at the other side or point her at targets that don't involve yourself. I think that the issue more than anything for a lot of people was this fractured alliance, this 9-person alliance that was in power for like a week and a half. So her foot is
really a metaphor for the alliance is what you're saying.
Yes, more than anything. It really is, because that 9-person alliance was eventually exposed by Cody, but Cody tried to spin it to the rest of the people in the house like he was trying to do them a favor when in reality, that's not what happened at all.
Yeah. And so here is Christmas, and she ends up staying, and she has a lot of momentum coming out of this. Ian, what is your concern level for Paul right now? That certainly that this was to his benefit that Christmas stayed in the house, but the game is such a marathon. He played really hard this week. We saw him getting into a number of confrontations this week. He said tonight that what he needed to do was that now he's going to stir the pot, play the victim, and target his enemies. Do you think that that is the right approach for him?
Absolutely not. I mean, I think that the reality of it is, like, you know, if you get safety early on, the best thing, the only option is to just shut up and just kick back and let the game play around you, because whenever you get, you know, it expires, you're going to be reinserted in there, and you're going to have options to go whichever way you want. And I mean, I think that that's really what it comes down to. I mean, he should not be winning HOH anytime soon. He should be just staying out of the fray and just keeping quiet as much as he can.
You know,
so when he said that, I was kind of like, you know, there's different ways to play Big Brother, and if that's his style, then, you know, and it works out for him, I accept that. But it's not how I would play being immune for 3 rounds.
Rob, I will say that a lot of those diary rooms took place right after the veto ceremony when Paul was at his absolute hottest, and he did eventually calm down somewhat, although he has been playing very hard this week.
Now, Ian, you've talked about in the past that the effect that the vets had in the Big Brother 14 house. I mean, what sort of effect do you see a player like Paul having on bringing him back with these particular new players?
Well, that's the thing, is there's only one, right? So I don't think that it has like as huge of an effect as if, you know, you bring back 4, or in my season, the coaches who not only were 4 returning players, but like they had 3 people where it's like, hey, it's in your best interest to do this, and you don't really have any reason to go against that because, hey, they're experienced, they know what they're doing. So I don't think it's going to have as huge an effect. Obviously, it shakes up the game, you know, different as if, you know, Cameron were there instead. But I mean, I think that Paul, for the most part, it's just kind of like having another player in there, and it doesn't tilt anything one way or the other.
Ian, I want to hear you talk a little bit about Cody. Do you think that he could potentially survive this? That I am certainly worried about his game moving forward, but I've also said that if we get a scenario where somehow Cody and Jessica end up on the block, I think that we could see Jessica be the person who goes out over Cody because Cody doesn't lose his cool.
That I would have a hard time seeing. I actually think that Cody is just such a physical threat at this point. I mean, he won the immunity competition with the apples in the first one. He won HOH immediately following that. And I mean, he obviously threw the veto, but he could have done well in that one too, I'm sure. So I don't see how, if it comes up, you would ever consider getting Jessica out first. That seems really, really backward to me.
Brent, what do you think of that?
Hi. I think that that's a good possibility that that might happen. On the other hand, I do agree with Ian that more than anything, I think Cody's just absolute dominance at these competitions will probably force their hand. I think on balance, you're right, Rob, that they would like to get rid of Jessica. She's probably causing more drama in the house than Cody ever will. However,
model curse, Ian.
Yes, but Cody's just he's amazing at these comps, these sort of carnival-esque comps that they've had so far.
Okay, so there were 2 swing votes coming into tonight. Josh and Kevin, they both end up voting to evict Jillian. Let's start first with Kevin. Brent, was that something that we projected today? Because I felt like that Kevin was supposed to be voting to evict Christmas tonight.
This is a bit of an information gap. We don't know exactly what happened with Kevin. After our Facebook Live at noon that we did with Alex and Taryn, Kevin later said to Elena, Mark, and Christmas's group that, you know, I'm going to vote to keep Christmas. The other side thinks I'm voting to keep Jillian. Just so you guys know, I give you my word. But previous to that, Christmas had been in a room with Kevin privately and had said, you know, I hope I have your vote. And it was like the Jillian interview with Julie Chen. It was like awkward silence. So I thought, there's no flipping way way this guy's going to vote to keep Christmas. And then a couple hours later, after Josh had come to the cameras to let us know that he was going to vote to keep Christmas, there was feeds going down for about an hour. And then when it came back, Kevin was saying that he was going to vote to keep Christmas. So I don't know if they got together there, but obviously something happened.
Ian, you've in the past said that your all-time favorite Big Brother player is Jack Owens. What is your feeling about Kevin after now just over 2 weeks in the house?
You know, I really enjoy watching him. I think he's a lot of fun and really great casting. I mean, I think to put, you know, someone in the mid in there is just really fantastic and fun to see. Jack Owens, he is not, I'm afraid. I think that Jack, his ability to assimilate with the younger kids is really unparalleled. Like, I feel like with Kevin doing it, it's more like, hey, it's the old guy. Yeah, it's fun. We have the old guy here. But with Jack, it's more like he actually was able to like get on with the younger kids. Like, I feel like it's kind of like, you know, I think what Brent was just doing, it's like old guy. So
Jack Owens was more in it with the younger crowd?
I thought he fit in fantastically.
I don't remember from that far back. Maybe at some point, if we do a Big Brother 4 rewatch, I'll be on the lookout for that. All right, so then let's talk about Josh. And Brent, you've been stock is rising for Josh. Did you like how he came out of this?
Yes, I did. And the funny part was that Josh really gave all of us a heart attack last night, because for the first time all week long, it looked like he was going to vote to keep Jillian. And I was like, what? Like, I mean, you can't do this to me. Like, every week, every day this week, you would have voted to evict Jillian. And now the night before, you're going to switch your vote. But luckily, Christmas did some good work today. Matt also did some good work today. Mark also did some good work today. And by that, I mean, Josh was feeling like he was left out of the Showmance Alliance-esque thing that had sort of formed in the wake of Christmas's nomination. And once he got confirmation that he was a part of them and not just being used by them as a tool, I think he felt comfortable enough writing with Paul on this one.
Okay. Ian, Cody had to make 5 nominations this week. 5 different people he had to pick out to go up on the block. Everybody ends up being mad at him by the end of the week. Do you feel like, was he just a victim of circumstance in terms of this crazy week? And could you argue a case of maybe this is a compelling reason not to be the first HOH?
Well, here's the thing. I mean, I think he was pretty unlucky in all of this. Now, not to say that, you know, he didn't make mistakes. I think that keeping his alliance in the dark as to what he was doing was a huge blunder. That being said, you know, if Megan doesn't, you know, get triggered and
quit,
you know, have to leave the house for sure, you know, whatever it was, whatever you want to call it. If that doesn't happen and we have Megan and Jillian on the block and everyone just votes to evict Megan, I think that this week he just goes back in and slides back into the distance and everyone forgets about it, and that's the end of it. Yeah. I don't think that it causes him any issues at all.
I do think you have to blame him a little bit. You know, this whole situation started with this speech.
Megan, I just don't like you that much.
You know, he kind of did get the apple rolling, Ian.
And fair enough. But at the same time, you know, he doesn't have to make any replacement. He doesn't have to make any replacement nominations unless that like she leaves. So that's the thing, is like that she left, he has to make someone, you know, put someone else up, which, you know, a twofer can be good, but at the same time, you know, it can also cause you problems.
Yeah, the whole thing did spin out of control with ultimately that he has to name a new nominee, and it's Alex, and she goes up on the block, and then we saw last night, he decides, no, I want to keep Alex in the game. I'm going to throw the veto to her. Right. Again, if Alex stays up on the block, I don't think that he comes away from this week with this fractured alliance. It's not until he decides, okay, I'm going to let Alex come down and then make this move to get rid of Paul, or I can't get rid of Paul. Now I'm going to get rid of Christmas. And that's where he lost everybody.
Well, yeah, I mean, that whole sequence I mean, it started with what you probably could argue is a blunder. I don't think that trying to get Paul out is really that bad of a move. In reality, I think that nipping the bud with the veteran player is probably a decent idea. We've seen that the biggest advantage you can have in a season of Big Brother, I think, is having played before. It's just there's so many things you don't know going in your first time that you know your second time. That's for sure. But I would say that I don't even know that if he gets Paul up there, if there's going to be votes for sure for that to even work. So I think that was a mistake to begin with.
Right.
Yeah.
Rob, I think more than anything, he never committed. I mean, yes, he put Alex on the block, but his heart was never in it. He was totally playing this too cute by half. Like, he's going to nominate Alex, but he's going to talk to her on the side, and he's going to make a pseudo deal with her, and he's going to obviously throw the veto to her. I mean, it was just so badly played. If he would have, this is what he needed to do. If he doesn't want to nominate Alex, and I'm telling you, he didn't want to, he should have just said, you know what, Jess? I like Alex. I respect her. I'm going to nominate Jason instead, and we're all happy. She would have been fine with that. She wouldn't have loved it, but she'd have been fine with it, and everything would have been great. So he made so many mistakes along the way. Yeah. Did he get unlucky with the pendant of protection? Yes, but it was also compounded by so many mistakes that Cody made along the way.
He was bad and he was unlucky. Ian, if we were going to rank the pantheons of the most unsuccessful first HOH weeks in U.S. Big Brother, as the Big Brother historian, where do you think that this one would fall?
Well, I would say this is probably right there with like a Willie, you know, Mike Boogie and Big Brother 2. Mm-hmm. And see, there were some other really bad ones out there, but those are the ones that really...
Is there a conventional wisdom of what is the worst first HOH? And there's some bad ones in Big Brother Canada as well, but let's just keep it to the U.S. game.
I mean, I would say that, well, Big Brother 2's with Mike's was probably the worst one. And that's really where we kind of got like you know, as we're trying to decide it and listen to evolution strategy, but this is where that idea of being the first HOH is bad came from, and it's kind of like stuck with it for all these years. We don't actually know that that's true. I think more people have won the game from the first HOH position than, you know, one would expect.
People have, yes, certainly become diplomatic with it, but you had back in that Big Brother 2 where Mike Boogie similarly tried to sort of like dictate the will of the house, and I'm not talking about the Dr. Will. You certainly back in Big Brother 14, Willie really spun out of control. I think that those are probably the Mount Rushmore.
And I think Cody's and Willie's are a little bit similar in that it sort of was this spinning out of control thing, right? Like, you have a situation that could be, you know, fairly straightforward. It's like, hey, you put Alex up, you know, if Alex goes, it's you know, easy thing. Oh, you put Ian up, Ian goes, it's an easy thing. But then, you know, something, you know, competition wins, something like that happens, and then you can't get out the person that makes it easy for you. You have to do some alternate plan, and then no matter what you pick, you're screwed because it's just a big fireball.
Okay, let's get into some of these questions, and then we'll eventually get to talking about the spoilers from the feeds. And let's start with one from Jenna McDaniels. Didn't Paul host this type of competition in Big Brother OTT? Well, I tweeted before, not only is Paul a vet of Big Brother, he's also a vet of Candy Crush.
Yes, there was a competition in Big Brother OTT called Perfect Shot OTT with 2 T's, and it was the one where Chrissy won out of nowhere and was like a banshee when she won. So I thought it was very fun seeing this kind of competition again. Obviously, we can't talk about the results of it, but I do have a better understanding about what's going on.
Ian, what percentage of the Big Brother viewing audience is going to be really confused on Sunday night when Paul is on Candy Crush and Big Brother 19?
Probably 30%.
Hey, that's not fair. Okay, let's go to another question. Lori says that in the past, they were told people were getting a battle back in the interview with Julie, right? Why not tonight? Now, Ian or Brent, do you recall last season, did they tell us back when Glenn went out, back when we saw the Messiah go out, when we saw Victor go out the first time, and Bronte that a battle back was coming, Ian?
Yeah, we did. We didn't get told about it at Glenn's eviction because there was no Julie interview, but we were informed about the battle back's existence starting with Josiah. So that was interesting. And the other thing I caught is usually when there's a chance for someone to get back in the game, she will say something like, well, you never know, expect the unexpected. But here with Jillian, she just shook her hand and said, thanks for playing our game, or something like that, which I did not take to mean that she would have a chance to come back. But Cameron, he's MIA, so I mean.
Right, and there were no goodbye messages as well. And I know that they were pressed for time. I know they had to get a lot in. They had to get in the results of the veto meeting, all the ramifications of nominating Christmas, and the fact that she injured herself. And I was glad that they also showed parts of Mark's change of heart, although they didn't show exactly why he changed his heart. They sort of glossed over that part, but they had a lot to get into tonight. So maybe that's why they didn't do the goodbye messages.
You know, and Survivor really goes out of their way to say, look, no. We decide everything ahead of time. We have the whole rule. The whole season is written out. We don't change anything on the fly. Big Brother rarely ever comes out with those types of proclamations. I think they might be looking at what they have right now in sequester potentially. It's like we got a guy who got kicked off on the first episode. We have a woman who's we asked her a question.
Before we say goodbye, any final thoughts?
No, I'm just shocked.
The only reality contestant in the history of reality TV that gives you like 10 seconds of dead air on a live show. And they might say, you know what? Maybe let's save the battle back for the jury.
It's possible. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I would like to think that they would have decided these things ahead of time. Also, the fact that, like, as Ian correctly points out, Cameron has not been seen or heard from. And remember, they're down a house guest. So the fact that Megan walked means that they have even more incentive to want to bring somebody
back. But what I'm saying is that they may just do it down the road. They may look at who they have, and again, like if Paul goes out right after his pendant of protection is gone, don't be surprised if they announce the battle back. But if it's like, okay, well, now you get a couple other, boring people go out here, they may save the buyback for in the jury when there's people that you want to see back in the house.
Yeah, it's possible, but I mean, like I said, the fact that they're already down a house guest in Megan, I feel like they're probably going to have one. I mean, last season they did 2. Yeah. So now they're down a house guest.
They'll do it. I think that maybe they might just, if they don't like any of these people that they could potentially bring back, I don't think they'll bring back a person that they think is going to be boring.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, there is a precedent of them having a plan B. I do remember in Big Brother 12 that Andy and Monet were sequestered, and then starting with Andrew, they just were like, just get out of here.
Yeah, they'll just say, like, one day they'll just be, like, hey, Cameron's on Twitter, everybody. Okay. Yeah. MJG says, can we all agree that anyone who doesn't want Paul out is a moron? Well, hold on. Can we all agree, and I try to follow the logic, can we all agree anyone who doesn't want Paul out is a moron? I don't think we're going to agree on that.
Yeah, I think there are plenty of people who have reasons to keep Paul in the house, mainly because...
Are we talking about the viewers or the people in the house, Brent?
I thought we were talking about the people in the house.
I thought we were talking about the viewers.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I can't imagine they were going to call America losers, but, I mean, more than anything, I feel like they're talking about the people in the house because, as Ian correctly points out as well, that even if Paul had gone on the block, that it's not a sure thing that he would have had the votes to be evicted. I think there's a good chance that Paul actually could have stayed against Jillian. I know Paul doesn't believe that, but looking at the votes and the people who were voting, I think that there's a good possibility.
Okay. All right. This is from Stephen H. House flips on a crazy HOH, heated arguments, and even an evicted house guest doesn't even make her own eviction episode. Is this the best first week of Big Brother? Ian, I think that this is probably going to be a even tougher than the previous question we talked about. But I think that we could just say great first week, great to start exciting, better to finish exciting. Let's see where this goes.
Yeah, I wouldn't quite put it as the best first week that I've seen. I think that some of the older seasons I really enjoyed a lot more. So I wouldn't say the best, but it is a good indication of what's to come, hopefully.
Yeah. Brent, you want to weigh in on the hyperbole?
Yeah, it is one of the best weeks ever that I have. And, remember, I've only been covering this for the last 3 seasons. So it's been really just wonderful to watch. And even up until today, I really wasn't even sure. I think I said earlier on the Facebook Live show, I was total Fancy Fencerton. I was like, it's 50-50 on what Josh is going to do. Could never have foreseen that Kevin was going to vote that way. And I think that, by the way, that's good for Josh. Just to talk really quickly about Josh, I think 2 things. Number one, the fact that Kevin ultimately sided with Paul's group is good for Josh, because Josh can just say, look, man, I knew where the numbers were going. I had to vote that way. Sorry about it. He wasn't the deciding vote after all. Number 2, this fight between Jessica and Christmas, I really worried about Josh, because if Josh was the swing vote, I really thought that Cody or some other people were like Whistle Nut were going to come to Josh, while Julie was interviewing and say, man, what happened? What happened? You were the vote. And I thought Josh has a hair trigger, so I thought he might lose his cool, but that's not what happened. Josh was totally cool, and Jessica and Christmas got into it.
I thought Josh really did try to play up his vote tonight. I think he really liked being the swing vote, even though he wasn't. He really played it up.
Hi, Josh.
What's up, Julie?
Please cast your vote to evict.
I sadly vote to evict Jillian.
Real pregnant pause there. Yeah. They call that in the TV biz a Jillian pause, when you have like 5 seconds where you don't say anything.
Rob, on the live feeds last night, Josh just kept begging for the camera to follow him around, because he wanted to talk to the camera. He knew he was the swing vote. He wanted everybody to know. Basically, he was reveling in the fact that he was put upon, he was ostracized from the beginning, and now he has all this power, and he wants us to know about it. He wants us to know that he's a gamer. He's an OG Big Brother player.
Trying hard, and, I want more crazy Josh.
Well,
Mastermind Josh is kind of boring.
Josh for HOH.
Okay. All right. Let's do one more question, and we'll talk about the feeds. Gonzalo says, who should throw this comp and who needs it? Well, I feel like that Jessica is the person that needs it most after this. Anybody in your mind, Ian, that should be throwing it? Does anybody who doesn't need it throw it? Or are you saying that people, it's such a crazy house right now, the only way to be safe is to be the HOH?
Well, a lot of volatility, right? But does Kevin really need it right now?
No,
probably not. So something like Kevin doesn't. Yeah.
Okay, Brent, anything else you want to say before we throw it to the feeds and talk about who the new HOH is potentially?
Yes, I just really want to give credit to Dominique, because Taryn tweeted about it, and I also was a little bit aghast that they glossed over it. I guess I shouldn't be surprised. If everybody remembers watching Mark on the show tonight, Mark was very solidly in Cody's corner, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, it seemed like he had a change of heart and just fell into Christmas's lap. Bitch, that's not how it happened. Dominique had her hand in this. She was the one driving the bus. Mark was in the backseat riding, and that's who really should get credit for Mark ultimately voting to save Christmas, because Dominique, what happened was, really quickly, Ramses, when they were outside on a lockdown, there was a plane over. Ramses made up the fact that it said Mark and Dominique had an alliance. I don't know why Ramses did this. This is terrible to do, but random. He did it. Cody and Jessica then ran with that, even though they weren't even, I think, or maybe some people were outside and they were inside, and they ran with it, saying that they saw it even though they weren't outside at the time that it happened. And Mark was totally offended by this, because he knew it didn't happen. Dominique correctly points out that there would have been a lockdown if there was a banner plane. And so Mark really lost all of his trust in Cody. You even saw there at the end during the live show, Cody went to Mark, because Mark had been giving knowing looks to Cody for the last couple of days, like, dude, I got your vote. But he was not with him. He was definitely anti-Cody.
Okay. All right. So with that, we are going to switch gears. We're going to talk about what's going on the live feeds now in this competition. And of course, if you were going to bounce out now, you will see this competition play out on Sunday night. And then we have a very special show coming up. Ian, you're going to love this. We're going to have on Sunday night, Big Brother 17. Big Brother 19. I have Ian and Brent with me. I think it's Big Brother 17. We're going to go back and have the Big Brother 19 episode. Then we're going to watch Candy Crush. And then we're going to be live after Candy Crush with Matt Hoffman to talk about everything Candy Crush and Big Brother 19 as well, coming up this Sunday night. So we will be live. I believe that will be at 10:15 Eastern time on Sunday, of course, in the podcast feed. So with that, let's get into the Big Brother live feeds.
The Office of Civil Defense has issued the following message. This is
a spoiler
warning.
A spoiler.
Warning means that an actual
Spoiler.
against this country has been detected, and that protective action should be taken.
Okay, get out of here, non-spoiler people. Okay, all right. Brent, you have the floor.
Sorry about that. I hope that for those of you who are visually watching the show, I might have spoiled something for you a little bit sooner if you were watching my little window down at the bottom. But we do have a new HOH, and his name is Paul. Total friendship, Rob.
Friendship.
Oh boy.
Wow. I did not see this coming.
Idea.
Look, I knew that he was saying he was going to be HOH. He really, really, really wanted this. But I thought, like there's freaking 12, 13 people competing. I mean, what are the odds that Paul is going to be the one who ends up rising to power? And then here it happens.
Yeah. Yeah, you want to talk about people that I think should be not winning HOH. I think Paul is probably someone, because he's safe, he really shouldn't be winning HOH during these 3 weeks.
Ian, true or false? Let me give you the trajectory of Paul in this season, okay? HOH week 2, maybe an HOH again week 4 or 5. First member of the jury, Paul. In the first, and then in the battle back.
I was thinking like week 7 or so boot.
Yeah. I mean, for those of you guys who watched the Big Brother Canada, we saw this play out with Netta. I mean, this is in no way a good idea for Paul, right, Ian?
Yeah, I mean, I did not watch Big Brother Canada 5, but from what I understand, like Netta had pretty much a similar long-term immunity early on, right? And
5 weeks.
She inserted herself a little bit too much, and I think winning HOH even once, right?
Well, Brent, I mean, talk about what happened with Netta, because of that the invulnerability of being on the block. I think it makes you feel like you are invincible.
It does make you feel like you're invincible. Netta did so many things wrong, and I love Netta, but she did so many things wrong during her stay on Big Brother Canada 5. She was given immunity until jury, which was 5 weeks, and she knew that. And by week 2 or 3, she was telling us, look, you can say that she was between a rock and a hard place, because she was telling us, look, I don't want to lay back. I want to thank Canada for giving me this amazing safety, and I want to play hard and play the game. But girl, you've got a marathon in front of you. You don't have to do that right away. She decided to win HOH. Kevin, who was in his alliance and was in her alliance and the eventual winner of the show, was happy to give it to her. But he was, I think, even questioning why she was winning, because she was safe. And she also won a veto along the way. And the other thing was that she was really arrogant with the other house guests. Even when her alliance was in power for most of that pre-jury phase. And the people who were going out, it wasn't so much that.
Well, we don't need to do the whole reset of Big Brother
Canada. I'm just saying she had a bad attitude. She was really cocky, and I feel like Paul's going down that same road.
Yeah. Ian, for Paul, how can he mitigate the damage?
Evict Cody this week and fade in the background immediately. Do the the house approved boot and just
Cody
fade
and Jessica
back
on the block. Okay. Yep. What happens when Cody wins the veto?
Make sure Jessica's the one that goes.
Brent, do you think that this is potentially the week Ramses should insert himself into being up on the block? If Paul does decide, no, you don't think he should go up there? I mean, there's not going to be a more sure thing coming up next week where the house wants to get rid of somebody. I mean, he's got to go up either this week or next week, Brent.
First of all, Rob, Paul may nominate Ramses outright. I mean, Ramses may not even get the chance to nominate himself, and I don't understand the mechanics. No, I don't even know, but he may nominate him as a placeholder in the beginning with Jessica, just to give Cody a chance not to even win the veto in the first place.
Should Ramses volunteer that to Paul and say, hey, I have to go up on the block, put me up?
Chrissy has the Big Brother rule book. I do not have it in front of me. I don't know how this works, but I know that Ramses has to nominate himself at one of the 3 next nomination ceremonies. As to when that happens, I hope they'll explain it to us on the show, because again, I don't know what happens if Ramses gets nominated naturally. Does that, absolve him of having to do it himself, or does he still have that burden? I would like to know that.
Now, is it one of the next 3 nomination ceremonies or one of the next 2 nomination ceremonies?
No, it's the next 3 nomination ceremonies, because because remember, the nomination ceremony had already taken place. Then Paul got the temptation thing. Then the curse came out. When Ramses listened to the curse, it said, you have to nominate yourself at one of the next 3 nomination ceremonies. And since that one had already taken place, it's going to be from week 2 to week 4. I tweeted you this. Did you not read it?
Brett, come on. Ian, so what do you think about that move for Ramses? You're saying no, he should avoid the block this week?
Well, I think where it's a little bit tricky is that if he does put himself up and Cody does win the veto, I think that he is somebody that could have a hard time up there. So sure thing, it is not. You want to make sure that if you're going up there, there's going to be 2 people that go before you, and I don't actually like his chances against Jessica. So
I don't either. I think he should wait.
Who's keeping Jessica over Ramses?
Rob, Ramses is a snake in the house. They know he made up the thing about the banner playing. They know he's been playing both sides and taking information to both sides. Again, I was incredulous. Oh, sorry, use that word again. That Ramses somehow avoided the block this week. I still don't understand how that happened.
Yeah.
But Paul and Dominique and Mark are all aware that Ramses is a bit of a snake. So I do not like his chances at all. I agree with you.
You're saying he needs to buy more time, dig himself out of the hole before he goes up.
Here's the idea. When you have a choice between paying now and paying later, always pay later, because you might not have to pay at all.
Yes, I agree with you.
Is that sound financial advice? Ian? I know you're a homeowner.
It always works for me, Rob.
I don't, it might not be the best financial advice, but it's good big brother advice.
Okay. You know what? I agree with Ian here totally. He should wait as long as possible. He basically until he's forced to do it, because I feel like if he advocates for nominating himself any sooner than he has to, he's going to look like a dumbass if he goes home. So let Big Brother force your hand. Don't give in to I was going to say temptation, but I guess it would be, don't give in to the curse. Avoid the curse.
Yeah. I just feel like that there is an opportunity here this week where if they are going to backdoor Cody and you don't want him to play in the veto, if you could go up, yes, he could get his name pulled. Yes, Jessica could pick him if she has the opportunity to pick somebody. But if they're trying to backdoor him, I just feel like that there's a chance that you have that chance to be the replacement nom. I don't know. He might not have a better opportunity than this.
I know, but on the other hand, he wants to play the game. He wants to feel like he's involved and experience this. He's a Big Brother super fan. Would he rather go out week 2 or go out at the end of week 4? I feel like he's going to take the latter.
Okay. All right. How did Paul win, Brent? Was it an impressive win? Did people gift the HOH to him?
It looked like it. Elena, Mark, and Raven were all giving Paul tickets. It seemed like every time Paul took 3 shots, he was instantly back in line with 3 more tickets. It was like magic every time. He was really quickly getting the hang of this. He eventually won it on his 3rd shot. By the way, for those of you who don't understand the mechanics of what was going on, there were no side panels on those snakes. It looked like from above there were side panels and you could just roll it down the ramp, but there were no side panels. So you basically had to, a la Perfect Shot, sort of curve the ball around of its own inertia and get it into the hole that way. And Paul was successful at it.
Okay. Yeah. Now I remember this from Big Brother OTT, but that was just like a straight ramp.
Right.
This looked like it was some sort of like a circular.
Well, there were
funnel.
3 different choices. There was a straight ramp. There was a cornered ramp where you could bounce it off a corner. And then there was the one that Paul ultimately won on, which was the snake ramp.
Okay. All right. Let's go back to some of the questions from you guys here. And the Melissa bot says, who will be the new Pawn Star of BB19? Well, we know it's not going to be Jillian. Ian, do you have an idea of somebody who could be the perfect pawn in this house?
Let's see. I could see Kevin doing block time just to be the person that's up there, but not go ever. I could see.
I think he would be hurt to be on the block. Wait, are you telling me I'm going to go up on the block? You're going to put me up for a chance that I could go home?
I think that once the first one is done, I think that would be something that's out of his system. He just seems like he just doesn't care. That's the thing. Never cared, and that's it.
Yeah. All right. This is from Kristen, who says, did BB19 fix it so Christmas would stay so they can get more use out of the jingle bells? Yeah, they are still going with that. We had Mr. Announcer Guy. I played it earlier before tonight, but he talked about this, the Jingle Bell Shock.
So it was a Jingle Bell Shock for Christmas.
And I'm all in on the announcer guy making the Christmas puns. I'm totally cool with that. But I'll tell you what I'm not cool with. I don't like Christmas making Christmas puns. Christmas came back in the house, and after she came back in, she's like, I'm the gift that keeps on giving. You know what, Christmas? You are not a Batman villain. Stop making puns with your own name. Stop it. Announcer guy, he gets to do it. It's going to get annoying if Christmas is doing it. Brent, are you okay with Christmas making Christmas puns?
I mean, I guess she's probably been dealing with it her entire life. So I don't know. You know, she's on TV. She knows that they're making jokes about it. So she's probably joining in the fun. I don't know. At this point, the house has been so great that I'm not going to let anything get me down, Rob.
Okay. She did one the other night, too. She had like, this
God,
is like
so
a Seinfeld episode. Yeah.
How dare you?
Don't give, again, and if we find out that Christmas isn't even her real name, I'm going to be very annoyed about this. She converted to Christmas for the jokes.
By the way, just really quickly, Josh and Ramses are the two people that Jason thinks voted against Jillian. Because prior to tonight, those were the two people more than anything. It was so weird. Ramses was so solidly in Jillian's corner, but for some reason, he's so sketchy to many of the house guests. Jason and Jillian had talked, and they said, you know, if it's 8-4 or something, you know, those two snakes are the ones that did it. And that's not true. And Kevin has been talking with Jason and has not fessed up to the fact that he was the one or one of the two people who voted against Jillian. So you know everything's going to eventually come out. I'm curious to see what Whistlenut's reaction is going to be when he finds out that Kevin is like bald-faced lying to him right now.
Jennifer wants to know, how much danger is Alex in now that the new HOH was crowned? Ian, we haven't talked about Alex, who came down off of the block. Are you an Alex fan?
I actually really,
this season's QT 3.14?
She technically is. Yes, Rob. She is this season's QT 3.14. She actually, I would say that out of the girls that, you know, have been on the show or that have been that role, she actually is like the most similar to girls that I have dated in real life or generally date. So that's one thing. I mean, that's just who I picked, though.
Video gamers?
Small libertarian Asians, actually, Rob.
That's a very specific type.
Right. I like it.
That's good. You know what you're looking for.
Well, it's just usually how it happens. I mean, it's not like I'm like, oh, gotta find those libertarian Asians. It's just how it usually happens.
No, that's good. I was listening to a podcast of this. That's how you succeed in online dating. That you have very specific. This is what I'm looking for, and then you weed out a lot of people.
Oh my goodness!
Wow,
Rob,
you avoid a lot of so-so matches.
I just wanted to tell you this really quickly because this tells you how, you know, maybe Ian can identify with this, that, you know, when you're in the house, you don't know what America is thinking. You can't really tell who is the favorite of America and who is not. I'm sure maybe he didn't realize that people were absolutely living for Dan, doing what he did all the time in Big Brother 14. But Cody just said to Jessica that I guarantee you that fans will not like me and you not being on the show anymore. I mean, like, talk about a swing and a miss, honey. Wow, he is so far off base. Like, literally everybody is screaming for Paul to win HOH so that he can get rid of Cody or Jessica or both. And they have no idea of their true perceptions at this point.
I actually think it might even be worth calling it, like, you know, Yvette's Law or something. That's people in the house that think they're the ones that America likes never are.
Yes, I love it. That's great.
Yeah, that's true on all reality shows. It always, the people that are in the majority feel like, oh, we're the cool, popular people, and these outcasts over here, nobody likes them. America is just cheering for us to continue. And it's like, no, that you idiots. the underdogs. And again, let's see if the worm turns on Cody and Jessica here, because now guess what? They're the new underdogs. Do you think, Ian, could we see, if you were going to look at the 7-day forecast for Cody on the Joker's Updates polls, do you see him rising up the ranks as an underdog?
I think that is their their hate hard on this year.
Yeah.
I think that's their that's the thing is I didn't understand though is Jessica is also I tend to not look at Jokers. I really don't care for it much, but I noticed that she's like down there. And is it just because of her association with Cody?
Yes.
Or is there something? It is? Okay, because I was going to say, like, I think that if Cody goes and it's just, her in there, I could see her becoming very popular very quickly.
Ian, coming into the season, Jessica was like number 1 or number 2. We love Jessica. She was like Janelle 2.0. I really thought something wonderful could have been had here with Jessica. And then, the feeds come on night 1 and she's in Cody's lap. Giving him
a big fan though. I've heard her on the feeds talking about older seasons.
Right. Yeah. And she is giving us the drama right now. So I'll give her that. I do think there's a large contingent of fans at this point that would rather see Jessica go home than Cody. She chose to stand by her man this week. And I really thought she should have extricated herself from that situation. If so, she would have been fine. She would have been in the big group. She could have said, I had nothing to do with that. But instead she bet on the wrong horse here.
Okay. We'll see what happens. All right. This is from at Wells Fago. Won't Christmas's foot potentially require her to leave for further medical attention? Might this be an unfair advantage? What's the unfair advantage? That Christmas is going to be in a doctor's office? Is that the unfair advantage?
Yeah, as long as they blindfold her and, make sure she can't see or hear anything, I don't see what advantage this would pose.
No, I think the unfair advantage is that people will look past her and think she can't win competitions. That's what's going to be ultimately unfair about this. Let's take a question from BB Nolan. What was Kevin's reason for flipping his vote, and was it a good move? This must be Liz Nolan, who's a big fan of all of the podcasts. Great strategic question from Liz. Brent, was this a good move for Kevin?
Yes, I do think it was a good move, mainly because no one suspects him. At least at this point, more than anything, Kevin has been able to sort of fade into the woodwork about what really happened with this vote. As I said, everyone thinks that it's Ramses and Josh who were the 2 votes that flipped. No one is really suspecting Kevin because he comes off as such a straight shooter. One thing about Kevin, I know he acts like the doddering old man, but he's a bit of a gamer. Like, he knows what's going on in the house. He's not stupid. He's not. No, I was going to say he's not Jerry from Big Brother 10, but Jerry was also in on the game and everything. He's not a potted plant. That's what I'm trying to say.
I thought it was impressive. He got on the right side of the numbers. He felt this out. He made promises to both sides, but ultimately he ends up voting in the majority. And I think that is a little bit of evidence that he knows more than he's letting on. Okay.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's actually, I did get a tweet here that says, if I can mention, Jessica is down in the Joker's ratings because of derogatory remarks. From
at Jay Reuter on Twitter lets us know about why Jessica is down on the Joker's rankings. Derogatory remarks, Brent, as in that she is catty with the other women in the house, or has she said controversial remarks?
Well, she's catty with the other women in the house. She's called Dominique Devon. She's called Alex Pow Pow, and she has stood by her man when he has been talking about transsexuals and their psychological causes. That's what Cody said. So she was laughing.
She was trying to get him to stop, but she was laughing.
Yeah, it was very like when a little kid's trying to get you to stop. Like, come on, stop. Like, come on.
Yeah,
there was no real effort there. She could put a stop to that.
Not so much, hey, stop this, I'm offended. Hey, stop this, you're going to get in trouble on the live feeds.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, and the Pow Pow, Davon, that's definitely problematic. So
not good. Not good.
Yeah.
Good. Okay. Yoni says, do you see a potential backdoor plan with the Ring of Replacement? Nominate Jessica, then if Cody plays him in the veto, replace him. Okay. So do you think, Brent, that the Ring of Replacement could be a factor here? I think that Christmas ends up being the winner of the Ring of Replacement this week. would it be advantageous for her to use it right away and take out Cody or Jessica if they end up on the block?
I mean, it depends on who their ultimate target is. I mean, I have to think at this point, Christmas is really going to want Jessica's head on a stake. I mean, more than anything, I feel like that's the person who she's going to want out. And I think probably most of the house will agree with her. Jessica has been playing terrible as of late because she has totally secluded herself in the HOH room with Cody. Her entire alliance, the previous alliance that existed in the house, she has just totally removed herself from. It's really incredible to me that she doesn't even talk to these women anymore that she was with on the first night of feeds.
But Ian, how pumped up are you for a good old-fashioned week 2 model curse? It's happening, right?
It should be fun. The other thing I wanted to point out with this Ring of Temptation, I believe the rules on this were made clear at some point because I had seen it written as fact. That the ring is, if it's used, randomly removes one of the non-nominee, non-HOH players, and that's random. It's not you pick like is it Adele in Big Brother Canada 2 had like a veto pass or something?
No, but I thought the ring of replacement, I may be wrong, I have to look at the rules again, but I thought that, if you have the ring of replacement, you can use it to replace any one of the 3 nominated house guests, any one of the 3 drawn house guests that come out of the bag, not one of the 2 nominees or HOH. So I think you
random. That's what I
don't know if it's random.
How useless could this thing get if it's randomly replace one of the 3 people that gets drawn at the veto ceremony?
I had heard it was. I know for sure it can't be used on the HOH or either of the nominees. That we know for sure. And I read somewhere said that it was a random one of those 3 is out and you're in.
Chat room, correct us on this. Is it random or no?
Right?
I think they're saying that Brent is right, so they're saying
Brent
that
is correct.
I think not normal. This is it's
a little, I will say it's a little vague because it says if they're not, this winning house guest will be tempted with the ring of replacement. Will give them the chance to play in any veto competition that they want this summer. If they're not one of the 6 house guests playing, they can swap places with one of the 3 players chosen by random draw. So they kind of
like players chosen by random.
It's not
random. Replace
right. Yeah, they didn't do a good job with the verbiage there.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Makes sense.
See where the confusion is. Cinefic says, "Who's campaigning saved Christmas tonight? Her own or Paul's?" Brent, do you have a take on this? Who was the MVP of Christmas staying?
Well, I mean, I feel like Paul did a lot of great work at the beginning of this week. I feel like today, Christmas more than anything, was able to recognize that Matt and Mark were seen as black eyes in Josh's eyes. She wanted to make sure that they got on the same page. Again, Josh felt like he was being secluded from the group. She understood that Josh felt like he wasn't, Christmas understood that Josh felt as though Josh could not see Matt one way or the other. He felt like Matt was a bit shady, like he couldn't tell where Matt was coming from. So they had a good talk that was pushed together by Christmas, and I really do feel like she saved herself this week.
Okay. Ian, you co-sign?
Co-sign.
Okay. Let's do one more question. Jordan asked, before I ask my question, Ian is looking good tonight. My question is, outside of Jody, who is the next target by the majority? Outside of Jody.
I think Ramsey's, right?
Yeah, Jessica and Cody.
Okay.
Yeah, I know, right? I do the same thing, too. I wish they wouldn't give them names of previous house guests because that's all I think about whenever I see Jody. Yes. All right. Yeah, outside of Jessica and Cody, who is the next target by the majority? Basically, if they're, I would say Ramsey's is that's the answer to the question.
Yeah.
Or possibly Jason, because Paul was very shaken by the fact that Jason Cowboy really was strong-arming some of the other house guests into voting the way he wanted, which was against Christmas.
Okay. All right. Ian, I want to go full circle with you. We opened the show. I talked about the chart. You started getting into homoerotic jokes. But could you please tell us that I know you now for 5 years. This is 5 years ago that you played Big Brother.
Sure.
And we've been doing the podcast together for, since Big Brother 15.
Right.
So that just to reset this, there was a picture. You had like a dry erase board where you mapped out your game before you went into the house and then followed that plan to the letter. I never knew this.
Yeah, no. What happened was, I literally drew that about, I was supposed to meet in the lab at 9:30, be there at 9:30. I drew it up at around 9:20 a.m. just to kind of give myself like a mental picture, a mental idea of what I wanted to do. But I mean, the thing is, I followed it to the letter, but I mean, if you go on Big Brother, is it really that difficult to, insert yourself into a 5-person alliance and try to ride it out with a mix of people with varying strengths? I mean, it's so vague, right? That could have been anything.
It's vague, but I have it open right now. So you described this alliance of 5 that you were going to create, and you wanted to be the 4th person in the alliance of 5 and be connected with hot girl number 2 in the house as a showman who was not in said alliance of 5.
Yeah, that was the idea. Yeah.
Rob, can you play the breaking news thing right now? Because we need to talk about shit before we go here.
Okay,
seriously.
hold on. Yeah, I sent Scott that chart. I want to show that before we jump off that. All right, so Brent has some breaking news here. All right.
Breaking news are happening now.
All right, Brent Wolgamott has some breaking news. Brent, what's going on?
Oh my God. It's like week 1 all over again. Seriously, there's an HOH that has a plan. He has a secret plan that he's not going to tell everybody. And
I mean, are you shocked by this? I mean, this is so Paul.
I cannot believe he's actually going to go through with this. I know he talked about it. We talked about it on this show. For those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, Paul's all alliance, so Raven and Matt and Elena, all of them were saying, okay, Paul, we want to throw HOH to you. Paul, you're great. We want you to do all the dirty work. Paul's like, great. I have a secret plan. I'm not going to tell you guys, but don't worry. You're going to love it. I know what I'm doing. Okay, great. So everyone, nobody asked what the secret plan is. They're just like, okay, Paul, you do your thing. We're cool. Totally cool. And even in the contest, they were literally giving him tickets to try to prove their loyalty. Remember, Paul thinks that they had something to do with him going up in week 1. Okay, so his plan that he's previously stated, and now he's telling them, and by the way, the look on all of their faces is like total face crack of the century here, is I'm going to nominate, this is Paul talking, I'm going to nominate Raven and another member of the alliance, probably Matt, and with as 2 pawns to try to get Cody out of the house. Now he's doing this with the Den of Temptation in play.
Boy doesn't want to bite himself in the butt.
I mean,
Brett, he didn't, but did he not say that? I think you and Taryn talked about this yesterday. Paul has a plan. He wants to be the HOH. He's nominating a couple, and it's not going to be Jessica and Cody. Didn't he say that?
He did say that, but I didn't believe him. I didn't believe him. Because he doesn't realize how on his side that they were. And I thought this competition would prove it. I thought the vote and also the fact that that they were helping him win HOH would show him, hey, we're on your side. We're not with those guys anymore. But he just refuses to believe it. This is terrible.
This goes full circle. And we said at the top of the show, I mean, it's great. You have a vet back in the house. And, if this was a vet who could control himself, that he could probably just dominate, come in like a Boston Rob in Redemption Island and just run the table here. And that is in no way going to happen. That Paul is way too all over. He's very entertaining. He's very fun to watch, but he doesn't know what he's doing.
This cannot happen. He's got to be talked out by this. Once they think this through. What if Ramses wins the veto? What if Cody gets drawn and wins the veto? What if Jessica wins the veto? There is a ton of people that would love to see Raven and Matt just sit up there on the block. What if Alex wins the veto? Whistlenut. There's tons of people in the house that can win the veto.
And Cody is not a 0 in terms of a player in this game. I mean, if he then gives Matt and Raven opportunity to say, where Cody says, see, this is what I've been talking about with Paul. I told you, you can't trust him. typical Paul move that the guy is going to stab you in the back. Trust me. Let's get the band back together. We can do this. Come on. Let's take Paul out. This is our season. He leaves himself open to that. So we'll see what goes on. We'll have much more on all of the developments overnight on our Facebook Live. Here's that picture that Ian drew once upon a time.
Let's see this.
Wanted to name. Could you talk us through this chart for the people that are listening to the podcast? It's called The Strategy, and I guess it was originally revealed on The Talk back in 2012.
Yeah, no, I scribbled this on a piece of paper in the computer lab, sitting in the seat in the third floor of Boggs Center for Energy and Biotechnology about 10 minutes before I got picked up to go. The joke that I wanted to get this aired on TV is that outrageous fun bit. If you go on YouTube and search outrageous fun, it is a really funny video, and I strongly recommend it. But this was really just a ploy to get that aired on TV.
Yeah. Okay. So
But it's a general. Here's the thing: it is a general map. I mean, to do well. I mean, if you actually can execute what's on this piece of paper, you'll probably do well, because the general strategy for Big Brother is pretty similar. I think if you go all the way to the bottom, it just says like go on a run of competitions when they're all memory based at the end. I mean, I think it actually might say that.
Yeah, I just love, my favorite thing is fourth spot in the 5-person alliance. That's where you want to be in the totem pole, and aligned with hot girl number 2, who's not officially in the alliance as a showman.
Yeah, the only thing is we didn't actually have like a legitimate old guy. That was the thing. Like, I was expecting like someone legitimately old.
Your 5 people in the alliance were supposed to be the jock, the all USA, old guy, me, and hot girl.
I mean, I think Dan is like old guy because, I mean, he's just above the average age for the show. I mean, you get that. But I mean, it's just
Dan became Jerry in Big Brother 14.
I mean, he was 27 or something like that. That's above average, I mean, Shelly is 31, is the old lady of the house at 17.
Okay. All right. Well, this was so much fun to get back together with you guys on a Thursday night. Hope that, Ian, you'll come on again before this is all said and done. Only 37 weeks to go, so hopefully we can work it out before the school year starts again.
Absolutely. Hopefully,
Any big plans this summer, Ian?
I actually got back from Indonesia earlier in the summer. I was in Bali, actually. So that was a lot of fun. I got back from there. I went to Florida. So now I'm just playing backgammon every other day and just relaxing.
Okay. All right. So follow Ian on Twitter at Tulane Terry. Brent, of course, what else is going on? LFC Roundtable this Sunday?
Monday, actually, isn't it?
Oh, sorry, Monday.
Yeah, because there's a show with you on Sunday and LFC Roundtable on Monday. And of course, I'm still occasionally doing Facebook Live whenever I can get up by 12 noon.
Yeah, check out those Facebook Lives. It's been Taryn with Alex and a rotating panel of guests at times. So those have been very fun.
It's a cast of thousands, Rob.
Cast of thousands. I'll be with the guys on Friday morning. That podcast will be in the main RHAP feed on Fridays. And that will be at 12 noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. All right. Ian, what do you want to do for the hashtag tonight? We've got the Jillian pause. We've got Vet's Law and hashtag Team Outrageous Fun.
I mean, it has to be.
What were the choices there? What was the second choice?
Vet's Law.
Yvette's Law.
Yvette's Law. Yeah, I actually like that one.
Yeah,
okay, good. Vet's Law, the group in the house that thinks that they are America's favorite, is most certainly not.
Yeah.
Vet's Law.
So true.
Write it down. Okay, they should teach that in Reality TV 101 of Vet's Law. All right. Thanks so much to Scott St. Pierre behind the scenes tonight, putting all those questions up and then grabbing that whiteboard demonstration from Ian Terry from 2012. So great job to Scott. Thanks all of you who joined us live during this exciting HOH competition. If you want to check out more live feeds this weekend, go to robbinswebsite.com/live feeds. Can't wait to get back together with you guys Friday morning to talk about the live feeds. And then again, we will be live Sunday night on our regular spot with Matt Hoffman talking about Big Brother 19 and Candy Crush. Enjoy the Big Brother this weekend. Take care, everybody. Bye.